Okay, 5:34, December 7th, calling the meeting to order. Roll call, Robert Boris, Commissioner.
Bill Groves, Commissioner.
George Matt, Commissioner.
Suzanne Ellery, Commissioner.
Uh, Public communications.
Right, so we do not have any additional attendees online. And there's nobody else present here.
Okay.
David, you're just joining and you'd be talking at the time when Steve talks. Okay, great. So,
Great.
we're all set.
Approval of minutes. Anybody have any comments on the minutes? A chance to review?
So I wanted to see what George was saying about Susan approving the minutes.
No, the list of members, it said Susan Dowling. She didn't join us last week,
No, I don't see her on the roll call though.
November 2nd.
It wasn't me.
No, I see. I don't see her on the roll call.
For the minutes from November.
For November.
Yeah, for the November 2nd meeting. I don't show her on the minutes as a roll call.
Oh, okay, I see.
I
I
think,
was looking at the list at the top.
Roll call.
Right,
Yeah, okay, you got me confused. You're right.
okay.
oh, I see what you're saying. You show for members. No, I just,
Yeah. I guess the format was changed.
I have motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so approved. Suzanne, business outreach, anything? I know it's that time of year.
The only thing I had was that I had quite a lengthy conversation with Peter Fine, the owner of Milestone in Mystic. He is very interested in connecting with us and would like to have his restaurant spotlighted in our success stories. So I told him that Paige would be getting back to him, and I put that information into our spreadsheet or our outreach spreadsheet. So that's there, but I'm hoping somebody will follow up with him. But they're very excited to be there, and that if you haven't been to Milestone yet, it's really a beautiful location. It's amazing what they've done with the place, and they were all like last minute. They got their whole outdoor area approved before Thanksgiving, so they could accommodate the college crowd that comes back. But anyway, it's a really nice spot.
Thank
Has
you very
anybody
much.
else? Sorry, I'm just curious. Anybody else go visit any other places?
I
No.
don't think we have it.
I didn't check the database for recent reports.
Okay.
But sounds like not from anybody who's present
There's a
here.
couple of places I'll mention in my chair report, but it was ribbon cutting rather than outreach, but. And let me just say, Suzanne, thank you very much. I'm really grateful for everything you've done this past year. I know it's a, tough transition getting, Bill was struggling with that as chair as well, like getting outreach going, and you stepped up, and I'm very grateful for that. And just want to
Well, it's my
acknowledge that.
pleasure. Thank you. My pleasure working with all of you. And like I said, I'll continue to be a unofficial ambassador when I go to businesses and just make them aware of all the EDC has to offer.
Excellent. And I'll take you up on all that. And as soon as you get a longing to come back, you're always welcome. So,
Okay, thank
Thank
you. I do have a quick question for you, Sam. So I submitted that article for RI Boutique, and I wonder when that'll be uploaded to our site.
Oh, in the coming weeks.
Okay, I just want to let the owner know when to go look.
For sure. Give it a couple weeks. Hopefully we'll put it in the newsletter that goes out next week. And
Great.
Hopefully we'll upload at that time.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, 2024 goals. Do we want to have a discussion about that? Do we want to push that to the next meeting, or?
I think I suggest pushing it to the next meeting when we have rest of the commissioners here and those who are going to be at.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, I know
What I've done in the past was I would draft up as chair a list of what I saw and then give that in January usually to the commission and let them also give feedback or other things that they'd like to add to it. Before they were formally, usually it was February, March is when we'd actually kind of vote on them for it, but defer to the chair to set the priorities that you, as you see it, and
Excellent.
If I might, if anybody who's here has any other ideas, you know, beyond the kind of typical categories that we've been working on for the last couple years, then that would be an opportunity for Bob to just include that as, you know, a laundry list of potential goals. And then in January that it'll, you know, the discussion will be a little more well-rounded. But clearly, if you guys are comfortable, then you.
Especially, Bill, with your experience.
well, so I, because this one came up and I worked at, this goes back a couple years and it does, it's outreach, but it's not the retail side, but Bill Balak, who finally got approval for 120 West. You know, his proposal is bringing what we need is housing. And as a bank, we, you know, that's one of our main focuses is trying to really be a community bank and help those things go along. My point is the more information we have of anyone coming forward to the town through planning and zoning and such like that, that that EDC becomes more proactive at the meetings, even if it's just sending a representative to endorse something that, you know, that we reviewed. So if something's coming up that we could review, and then we can get before the people, because I don't think there's really a voice when it gets, especially the council seems to be very hands-on when it comes to these things. I know it's a planning and zoning issue, and I really think we have a great planning and zoning department here, but somewhere it gets kind of thing up, and this one took 3 years. Granted, it was town property, which is a lot what we deal with, but I would like to see a more active role on that front, to at least have someone to be able to present the EDC's opinion, which would of course be a commission vote to say, yes, this is something we support and go forward, and become a little bit more of a lobbying for the people that we're trying to, you know, Sam and Paige spend all their time out there trying to really make Groton the place for these people to come into. And I've said it before, and going over with Bill on it, is these guys spend hard dollars just to get this stuff proposed through engineers and such like that. And we're not talking, you know, a couple $1,000s, we're talking close to 100,000, sometimes more. And then we don't understand why when one of them, for whatever reason, gets blown up, and that why other developers aren't eager to come in and start presenting if they think that it's, you know, not a good investment of those funds for development. So, you know, we have to be cognizant of that and be the proponents of what we say all along. We need housing, and housing will bring other business in along with it, because they have the consumers that go along. So I'd like to see a little bit more proactive and give them a voice from our standpoint.
Awesome. That's great.
Two other things perhaps would be to look over last year's goals, see where we can strike off or add on to. And number two was, I think we pushed it further and further, was Councillor Mayor Rachel request about blight. I think we pushed it. So that was something that we could also review and bring a feedback to the new council.
If I remember correctly, what that was, it was not necessarily blight, but it was unoccupied commercial space. And the proposal was, do we find them and such like that? And I think we did have discussion on it. But it's a very touchy thing about, you know, there's an economics involved. I think we discussed also is, I had the one in particular, and the cost for this person to come in, what the person's perceived value of the property was just cost ineffective, because he had no communication, you know, cabling and all these things that we don't even think that all businesses depend on now. to bring it up to the speed where it could actually open up a business there was just cost prohibitive. So valuation of what the owners think as opposed to what the true value is to the market is something that is holding up, I think, some of these parcels from being occupied or even sold. So.
And my opinion on that, George, I prefer not to unless Mayor Franco wants us to take that up again, to pick it up, because it's sort of a hill that can distract us from it, because it's still the complexities of the issue. I don't, we should focus on, I think there's other priorities we could get wins on in housing and other things like that. How you handle finding or promoting companies from doing things in highest and best use. I mean, if you think it's important and it can drive something forward, absolutely. It's one of those issues that's a little too nuanced for a board with so few.
Well, it's placemaking. Groton is thriving and about to blossom. We want to see that more of our facilities are being revitalized or whatever it is. So it is worth providing a schematic of some sort of those unused or unoccupied properties or whatever. So thereby at least our town staff have a repository of entities that they could reach out to and say, look, there is that vendor or that major corporation that is coming in. This is what, do matchmaking, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But without being in that list, nobody cares to do anything. But if you are now identified as one, at least that gives impetus for the town staff and the owner of the property to weigh and consider how to negotiate. Or the cost may be high, but then again, we are in this curve where both the state and the town could look at identifying ways to get funding because they are small businesses. And I think last month, or was it, I can't recall, we had a meeting with the commissioner of banking. And so they are very enthusiastic on trying to spur small and medium businesses in the state of Connecticut, strengthen financing opportunities that there are.
Let me just say what.
Sure.
My instinct would be if we did more outreach and we had more contact with the business owners that own these properties, we could give more feedback.
That's
on what's
true.
happening.
That's true.
Right now is I'm a little, it's sort of esoteric about why are they not, and maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my comment was related to that. So, we don't know if that's gonna be one of Mayor Franco's priorities or not. But one of the reasons why the commission was in a tight spot to be able to move forward on this is because we didn't have a lot of good background information about why, and is there a pattern or some sort of, prevalent barrier that prevents people from moving forward.
Correct.
Your feedback on these properties, that's actually the exact information that you would need. So I would suggest that you don't wait for her to say anything,
Right.
but try to reach out to as many business owners as possible, see if there is a pattern. And again, we have blight ordinances. If there are issues, and that's a visibility thing, we could talk to the planning staff, find out if that could be leveraged to have more and more conversations, and then again, put them in touch with sector, get some funding. So I think
Get the momentum.
based on your proposal, you guys can move forward without having to
Right.
be targeted towards the policy, but instead just do more information gathering and see what you can do with the existing policies.
But we need to know who they are.
Right.
well, that information, again, you guys are feet on the ground, you can collect anything.
Maybe staff
Could look at that and see, about properties that we know have been vacant for a long time, maybe make a list of them. So
And here's an easy way of getting some information. All those signs have, if they're being most of them are on the market continually. Whoever's that property manager or whoever's the information's right there to contact at least. Who are they representing? This is our position. We're from the EDC. We're trying to find out who you're representing so we can reach out to them and see if maybe we can help them get this property moving forward. Sometimes these owners are using this as tax write-offs and such like that also.
Right, right.
The famous one, and God bless them, and see where they're coming, is Chase. You know, that building was the former Hartford National that I was in beforehand.
Yep.
We could not, we wanted to do the same thing, except we wanted to build a bank on the other end of that parking lot and tear down that existing building, because to us, it wasn't feasible to do what they just spent all that money on. We got no response as a bank trying to negotiate, and we are the current tenant on top of it. So that's how sometimes we think it's easy.
Yeah.
But they're not responsive. You know, it's like, well, I don't want to do anything because this is a tax write-off or a, you know, so.
I think in the spirit of what Mayor Franco was presenting, it was to try to get these businesses back in
Occupied,
certain-
right.
occupied and used. So it's a great approach to just, and we'll put that in the notes. I'll take the lead on it. I can call some of the commercial brokers. I have some contact, try to
Yeah,
find out.
Northeast Properties does a lot of them. And that's the same type of information I got. So that's what is inhibiting them from selling? What is inhibiting them from getting tenants in? What is your roadblock to filling these businesses? And maybe we'll get some feedback on it.
And then we could be prepared with that information that she's looking for. Because she was, even here, she was clear that she wasn't prescribing any
Right.
outcome. She
wanted input.
That, so.
Yeah, so it's good that we can have a line item and say, what is the roadblock?
Yeah.
Perfect example is the old Benny's. I hear this all the time, is how come they don't do? And we all know why, because he doesn't want to do anything with that building. I'm just saying, so what can we do as an EDC to maybe help along that process is what it comes down to.
If you guys can find out the exact reason why.
Right.
Collect that data.
And bring it back. At least we have something to move forward with.
So maybe one more thing is that I used to sit on the Economic Development Fund. That is something that sort of fell off the bandwagon of the EDC. I don't know, last 3 years or so. That's what I don't know what we have. It's about 600K in there, or is it half of it now?
I don't know the exact amount. It probably came down to under $200,000. And just so that everybody understands, that fund actually is still active. It's an active grant program. It's the kind of thing that if you go business to business and they're expanding, it's something that you can bring up to them and tell them that these dollar amounts are available. We accept
Applications at any time.
when small businesses come in, we have a pre-application checklist, try to find out what they're doing. And if somebody's coming in and they're looking for money, and we find out through their process that the project involves some sort of infrastructure investment, we direct them to that. Now, as it turns out, we've got the Small Business Pivot Fund, we've got Sector Has the Rise dollars. Those are all out there. So that fund it's been active this entire time. We actually have to wait for people to come in and ask for the money, and you guys are welcome to go out and tell people about it, and we should entertain anything.
So who's evaluating those? What I used to do with David Prekka and a couple of others.
We haven't had it come forward.
Yeah, we have not had any submitted. The EDC is still responsible.
But we don't have a team anymore.
Oh, no, the team still exists.
Is there?
It's you guys, but we have.
George, you were still on it as far as when I was chairman, but we had no one coming forward.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like the last one we had, I think you guys did was SIFT. If I remember, or that
Actually,
Rogers also.
Standard was actually after that as well.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yep,
maybe you should put it down on the website. Is it on the website?
Sure.
it's under incentives and financing on the website.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Excellent.
You're on it though.
Now we gotta get him and Leanne in there.
Well, now he is de facto, so.
Okay, so
All right,
then
thank you.
the annual report, I'll put a draft out and put it out with the goals too for us to discuss. later. Under new business, maybe let's talk about Leanne was helping and we got the Eastern Connecticut realtors. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? It's so we have the room reserved for the 30th of January. Sector is coming, Paul's coming, and RT is coming. And we're gonna talk to the realtors and add a few more things to the program. I'm gonna meet with them next week sector about the incentives for development. So there's some page shared at the last meeting. There's some state level, really cheap money available. So Leanne took the lead in kind of coordinating some of her contacts, and it's coming together great. I think it's going to be a great event.
They're also going to invite the Builders Association.
Oh, great. Okay.
Is that the middle income program you're talking about?
Is that the new one from the governor?
That's the one
Yep.
that actually 130 West, 120 West, 130 West, I can't believe it. So that's what he's proposing that he's building for. That middle income type of housing, which is underneath that CHAPA plan. Which comes from the state.
If you know anybody, we need a presenter to come and talk with us about that.
Might be able to get someone from my mortgage area. Let me put that on the radar.
It's, I mean, I don't quote me the specific details, but some of the terms are pretty fantastic. I mean,
They're very good.
it sounds very
What you need is you need a bank to be willing to do it. So we all participate.
Right.
And then if they meet those criteria.
Right.
Then this program really, it's
Yeah.
really allows a middle income person that before maybe couldn't get into a house. To get in, especially with the current rate environment.
It seems like a lot of thought went into putting it together. So I look forward to, I'll share more and communicate with you after I
Yeah.
talk to Paul and get them up to speed, but they confirmed.
Do you have the slides from when somebody went to a meeting on it?
Paige did.
Paige.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have, in fact.
Yeah.
I think I have it. I think he sent it over
Yeah.
to me.
that would be good way to start off the new year. And again, it's an avenue for you to talk about what is offered here. You know, we should, you know, you
Right.
or our leader this evening or whomever should be talking about what we want to do to help too.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's, especially if we get some builders here.
Is it Joe Toner? Did you have to Building and Trades? They're coming?
I'm sorry?
Joe Toner? Is it?
I don't know,
Okay.
Stu,
Okay.
the CEO of the Board of Realtors was making the arrangements for the builders,
Okay.
so I'm not quite sure
Right.
who she spoke with.
I will, I'll put the notes all together and meet with, Paul. I'll let everyone know too, when we set the time on Monday, I think it's Monday, just to, because they're right up the street on Thames Street. I said I'd just come up and sit with them if anybody wants to join or that's appropriate and we don't have quorum problems, right?
Is there a time?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure, but I'll get that out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other new business? Okay, chair report real quick. I'll go through it quickly. We had a property reuse meeting for S.E. Butler here. It was extremely well attended. The community of Mystic was giving an input. So as chair of the EDC, I sit on that. Great community showed up. The objective there is it's just an advisory to give to the council what, you know, whether before we go to the RFP process. So there wasn't any vote taken, and I believe that they're doing some title work to find out if there's any underlying restrictions or other things related to that. But it was it was wonderful to see so many community members involved so early. They're taking advantage of the input at each level to sort of, you know, be sure that their wishes for these properties are heard. So that's very good. We had Weathering the Storm, a business forum that the staff put together, and Mystic as well. And we had Megan, our sustainability and resilience manager, gave a good presentation on what's happening in Mystic, what's some of the mitigation that's going on there and some of the funds available. I did a follow-up with her and asked if we could put another event together related to having residents and other business people hear what maybe some information and maybe some money. I'm not sure if there's money available, but whatever avenues there are to have the community be able to access funds and knowledge about resilience and sustainability issues. We had a great tour of the state pier. Paige and I were there. Amazing setup. I know there's a lot of controversy with offshore wind, but that's just a short-term part about it. There's so much more going on. It's an amazing facility to, Ulysses Hammond is a great director there, really on top of it. And they're hiring some marketing people to help market the ability. He showed and explained all the nuances of having that deck. A lot of the money went into making sure that deck can handle heavy loads, and there's not, without that, we couldn't compete for shipping and some of the new businesses and heavy industry stuff. So it opens everything up, the Navy or EB or whatever. It'll become a very good commercially viable facility. So that's good. And, the offshore wind thing is pretty impressive too, to see the scale of all that. So that was very nice. Last night we had the Riverfront Children's Center. They had a ribbon cutting. Bruce Flax was there. The Mystic Chamber has been their word in getting involved in a lot of things all across the city. And they raise money at their brew run every year. And they gave $5,700 to the Children's Center. Again, another great facility. We need childcare. They did a beautiful job building, setting all that up. So that was pretty impressive. I think that's it. That's it.
Sure.
Mind if I look at your notes on the
Yeah.
staff report? Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. Great.
Oh, one other thing. So Ford's Lobster, you may have seen it in the day. Kimberly wrote an article about it. Their lease expired and didn't get renewed. I reached out to them and started helping them try to find other spaces to keep them in town. Obviously it's a staple of the community. It's, they're amazing entrepreneurs and nothing yet, but a lot of people are scrambling and looking around. So Leanne, if you know anything, if anybody knows anything, it's, be great to keep them there. I pitched for Thames Street as well, because, win-win there. But
That'd be the best place for them in the old restaurant down there.
yeah,
If we could get them to divide the property,
the old bootlegger, yeah.
sell the restaurant and leave the rest,
Yeah.
that'd be a phenomenal place for it.
Sooner or later, someone will be there. So I have been sharing that with them. So
I don't know what they thought about the airport, but I think they would do. It's always been a struggle to be successful there as a restaurant, I think,
yeah.
but they just have a name already.
Oh,
The
yeah.
view is incredible. It really is. If you've been in there, it really is just a nice view. You're looking out, and they have a following. So I don't know if you can relay that to them, but there is opportunity there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ideally, they want to be on the water because they want to keep their, the maritime boats.
It's water-ish.
But exactly, airplane, water, seaplane, Yeah. All right, great. Staff report? Oh,
Yeah, I'll give mine. Thank you. Great. So just a couple things I want to mention briefly. The small business pivot grant. We did extend the deadline for application to December 15th. All the information can be found at greatergroton.com/pivot. I would encourage any of you to send your business contacts to that website. The application itself is only about a page long. We would encourage anybody to make an application. We'll just find out if they can, would be eligible. There is some backup paperwork that kind of typical things, being good standing with the state and the, Department of Revenue. But if anybody were to give us an application, and they had made those requests and they knew that information was coming, we'd let them backfill that documentation. Anybody who, was impacted by the pandemic and could is demonstrating that they're pivoting the way that they do business, we encourage them to apply. So December 15th is the window on that. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Triton Square. So I don't know if any of you have gotten over to that area or do on a regular basis, but to see the construction happening over there, definitely makes that statement. And I'd encourage any of you to go over there and just keep tabs on, the construction as it proceeds. They are moving forward for sure.
Yeah.
And
Triton Square is up.
Triton Square, yeah, the old
William
William
Seeley.
Seeley School for sure.
Give one to Joe in case he gets lost.
It's really coming along, and it's going to have a great view.
They won't get lost.
That's all I had. Thanks,
Okay.
Bob.
Great, one, just to circle back real quick. Also, we voted on letters, putting some letters out. So I approved, sent a letter to Bruce that he likes for DOT. I'm gonna send that out for everybody. Same thing with Walker. Walker and I went back and forth. I got a nice letter together for when his visit was here that he can use in his RFPs. I'll send that out to everybody to concur, and then we'll get those sent out. Okay, liaison.
Okay, great, thank you. And happy holidays, everyone. I'm gonna change gears a little bit this month, and talk about some electrical resiliency projects that we pretty much got completed today. You can see the little sheet I handed out. One side has a lot of just our partnerships on it, which I kind of talked a little bit about things before our IGSAs and other things, but really focusing on the back here with the little diagram. Subbase has always been, it's always been a vulnerability. Electrical, our single feed electrical supply has always been a vulnerability, going back to when we were almost bracked. Because the power comes in from Buddington, basically along one route, and a lot of the bigger bases, it comes in from different ends of the base, like different feeds. So we don't have that. So it's always been a vulnerability we were aware of. So starting 10, 15 years ago, they started thinking about ways to rectify this. And we pretty much accomplished that goal through these three projects, which we'll talk about real briefly. First, we did an enhanced use lease, and the Navy allows us to do these leases with private companies or public companies that we basically give them or let them use some land on the base that we're not using. In this case, it was basically a ledge area out near the road that we weren't going to be using for anything. And that lease was given to CMEC, which is Connecticut Municipal Electrical Energy Cooperative, and they partnered with Fuel Cell. Of course, a company out of Danbury, and they installed these two fuel cells, which you can see a picture of one of them. Part of one of them. They're pretty huge devices on that site. There's two of them there, and they through a electromechanical process take natural gas and turn it into electricity. Don't ask me exactly how it does it. It's all magic, but they work. They're up and running, and they're creating power today. And they're selling that power back to the grid, and that's how they make their money to pay for this project. But the subbase gets two things out of this lease. The first thing we get is first right of refusal to let power. So if the grid drops out, we can throw a few switches and that power will fall onto the base to keep our loads satisfied during a power outage. And the second thing we got is about $1 million in in-kind equipment, transformers and switches and things to upgrade the grid on the subbase, which is a win-win because obviously the subbase is old like the other ones around here. So it needs upgrades, and that's going to help us do that. So that's the first win. Little over 7 megawatts of power between the two of them. For the Navy to install generation to create that much power would have cost a lot of money. So we got that for free. So that's a win. The second part of it, we entered into an agreement with Noresco, which is another Connecticut company, to do an energy savings performance contract. And they basically came on the base and looked around and found ways that equipment that they could install that would save us money on our energy bills, utility bills, not only energy, it's water as well and everything. So they installed this equipment, and the savings from this equipment over the life of the project will pay for the project. So essentially, we're getting this, all these items I'll talk about essentially for free, money that we would have spent anyway. So we got a lot of improvements out of it. We got some new super high efficiency boilers to heat all the buildings on the base, or most of the buildings on the base. We got upgraded LED lighting, energy controls on a lot of our buildings. But the big thing that we got are these two beautiful Rolls-Royce generators, which is a picture of, kind of shows one of them on the bottom. These are in our power plant, and each of them can create about 5 megawatts of power. They run off natural gas, so they're pretty clean. And they are also running as we speak, most likely. At least one of them will be pretty much running all the time, because we can actually generate power with those less expensively than we can buy it off the grid. So that's part of that energy savings contract. We even take the heat from those generators, from both the engines themselves and also from the exhaust, and we pipe that back into our steam to keep the base. So it's a cogeneration arrangement. And it's kind of neat in the summertime when those engines are running. That's really all the heat that the base needs. Now you might think, why do we need heat in the summer? But it heats all the hot water. You think we have 1,500 to 2,000 sub-school students living in dorms. They use a lot of hot water. And then of course you've got, the dishes in the galley and all that. So, so we got those two generators. Again, that's about 10 megawatts of power for the base if we need it. But like I say, they pretty much run all the time, but in an emergency, that's available as well. So the third part of this, which ties it all together, is another part of that energy savings performance contract. And also we got some seed money from the state initially to do the initial designs on this, is the microgrid, which is kind of a little picture of it here, representation of it. It's a bunch of electronic switches and controls that can monitor all the electrical loads on the base, and can isolate the base from Groton utilities. And it actually provides the standard to keep all these power generation systems in sync. And so what we can do with this system is, if the power goes out, we can pretty quickly, like within an hour, which is really not that much time in the grand scheme of things, we can isolate from Groton utilities and bring the whole base back up again. This is being tested right now. It should be fully functional at the beginning of next year. Once this is complete and tested and put into service, subbase will be completely 100% able to provide our own power, in any kind of storm event. If you add these two, these fuel cells and the generators in the power plant together, it's almost 18 megawatts, which is about as much power as we ever use. We might go over that a little bit if it's like 110 degrees and we have a whole bunch of boats in port. But other than that, we're usually close to half that. We've got plenty of capacity, and it's just great that we're able to solve this major issue that we've had, and it really didn't cost the Navy anything. It's an exciting group of projects.
That's great.
Thanks.
Does that mean the base will be expanding?
No major expansions planned, but we can certainly keep going, fulfilling our mission moving forward, even if the power's out, if a hurricane hits or something like that. So,
Ground utilities will be there for you. Ground utilities will be there for you anyway.
oh, they are 100%. Yeah, and like I say, we got a grant too from OLDCC, which is listed on the backside, to do the designs, upgrade those power feeds and go to the base, and some of the water mains as well. So yeah, no, we're hitting it on all fronts. We want to have things as reliable as possible.
Great, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, any other business?
Are you done with the liaison report? Is that all the liaisons?
Any other liaison?
I can tell you that the RTM is anxiously awaiting to be sworn in next week. And I would anticipate a great cooperation, like the RTM does, between the RTM and the new council. And I think it'll be very beneficial to growth in Groton, because that's where the energy is with both groups. So I'm very hopeful about that.
I brought in a brick. I don't know if you guys.
Oh, Show us the break.
Just, I don't know if you guys have seen these at all. I talk about them every single meeting. I finally got my hands on one of them. So I'll be standing in front of the electric pole probably at 5:30 in the morning until I got to go into work. Cause we've only sold like 150 and we're trying to sell like 2,500 of them. So if anybody, they're great Christmas presents. And a lot of people, they have EB, but they also have all the armed services logos. So the Navy, the Dolphins, and they have a bunch of different things you can put on it. I think there's even a lighthouse. So if anyone's interested, they're $150 and it's there in perpetuity.
I got a question. Somebody asked me, do they get to pick where in the boat it's gonna lie, or is it just?
If you want Jim Streeter to kill over. So what they're doing is, they're ordering them pallets at a time.
Yeah.
And it's really gonna be, we're gonna be happy if the Mason members put them in the same direction. But for the most part, we're relying on the fact he'll do that, but, no, there will be no play. It's gonna be part of the fun. Fine.
Yeah.
We order.
That's what I said. I said,
Yeah.
it's gonna be in the boat, but.
Yeah.
I
I guess you could, I don't wanna encourage like vandalism. You could probably sneak in there one night and switch the block.
Yeah.
Good job. You're on TV.
Oh, that's right. I'm just saying, spend that much, you may not consider that.
That's our leader. You have any of the?
Other business.
I'm sorry.
I do, the application, I brought some here, if anybody's interested, but the reason I'm really pushing is Christmas is coming. And buying somebody something they don't want, cause they may say they don't want this, when they see this in its full glory. They're gonna be very happy that their name's there.
Yeah.
I do have them, I have extra in my car too.
What's the time frame on it being all put together? Is it?
All done and put together right now, we're like thinking a year and a half. We're still in fundraising mode, and there's some hurdles to cross, but a lot of the zoning.
Yeah.
We had issues with that. That's all taken care of. So the ball's rolling now. Leaving today's meeting energized me a little because it feels like it's been an uphill push for a long time. Like I think in 2013, when I first got on the council, we were talking about this. So it's been a while.
Other business on a personal note, early into the new year, I'll be assuming a new role in the private sector. My last meeting here, and thanks for the work you guys have done.
Thank you for your service.
Congratulations. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Suzanne.
What are you
And
gonna
I
do?
already told Sam, we need someone to manage outreach for the city. I'm sure he's gonna have other offers to support the town, but I told him,
Yeah.
we'd love to have. Whether you're officially involved or not, I'll be
Sure.
bothering you.
Sure.
The same thing with Bill as well.
Bother me all you want.
I want to acknowledge,
Don't wake it.
your service and
Don't wake you.
Oh, no,
Yeah, I'll still be in the area. I'll be in the consulting field for economic development.
good for you.
yeah, hey,
Thanks, bud.
congratulations.
So you'll come and speak to us.
Yeah.
Or to them.
As needed.
As needed.
Well, good fun.
Not every meeting.
All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Happy holidays.
Yes,
Thank you.
Susan, you also.